Crazy Legs, at the time when I was hanging out with Crazy Legs, when I first became a member of Rocksteady, was like around 89, 90, around there. And he was trying to get me a record deal. So the first record deal he got me was Celluloid Records. And if you really know your hip-hop history, Afrika Bambaataa was on there, DST was on there. So I was excited to be a part of that. And as I was making the album, the first Q Unique album that was going to come out then, the label folded. They held my masters. They didn't. Like, I remember rolling up to a studio session, and they wouldn't let me in the studio because the label wasn't paying the session. So that whole thing got shelved, and I never saw them ever again. And he felt bad, I guess, in his own way. So he went, like, without me knowing, and he just called around a couple of his friends, and he had a friend named Duran who was part of the CNC Music Factory. And they picked me up after work one day, and he asked me to rhyme for Duran, and I spit a rhyme, and he was like, "How would you feel about being down with CNC?" And I was like, man, I'm not really into that stuff. You know, that's really not my vibe, you know? So they were both looking at me like I was an idiot, because they looked at it more of business and money, you know what I mean? So I went home, and I remember that night, Crazy Legs calls me on the phone, and he's got Afrika Bambaataa on the phone. And he's like, and I just become a member of Zulu Nation, so, you know, I knew Bam. And so Bam goes, "What's the problem?" And I'm like, I don't really like that kind of music. He's like, "Why? Why don't you like that kind of music?" I was like, "You know, it's electronic stuff and all that." He's like, "I do electronic music. What's the problem?" So I felt stupid. And then he asked another question. He was like, "All right, you want to be a musician, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "What do you got on the table right now that's stopping you from doing this?" And I just got quiet. So I guess the following week I went. I took the audition that they had, and they as soon as I finished on stage on the audition, SIR Studios, they took me right there. They had a line of people, and they took me right on the spot. So I wrote a song for them called "Keep It Coming." It was for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie. And the deal was that I was supposed to do that for them because they had to fulfill a contract with the movie company and all that. And in return, they were supposed to put out Q Unique stuff. And I don't know what happened, but somewhere along the line, they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't think that it was out of them being malicious. I just think that they probably didn't see the potential in it right away. But me being a kid at the time, I wasn't having it. I was angry, and so it ended in a whack, you know, unsatisfied way. And that was the whole scene. What's funny though is that I thought I walked away from it, and you know, I did the movie soundtrack, and it came out on the soundtrack, and I remember my grandmother being really excited about it. And I thought that was the end of it, and then the TV series started, and it was haunting me, like the thought of Buffy the Vampire Slayer just never went away. So it's interesting. And now today I'm a little older. I talk to the guy from CNC Rock who does every now and then on Facebook. You know, everything's cool now. You know, you as you get older and you mature, you realize it's a business, and you know, you get a better understanding.